Hi everyone. Today we're going to cover the getting started setup with the Interspace or ISBoxer system. This is just going to cover the actual process of getting the game set up and started. We're not going to do any sort of advanced configuration. This is just bare bones how to get the game up and running in ISBoxer here. So you can see we already have the toolkit system or the ISBoxer suite open here and installed. I've already logged in. So if you're not at this point, make sure that you've got that installed and that you've authenticated with your account. I'll also note this is applicable for 2021 here. This may no longer be necessary in the future, but for the moment, uh, if we check our configuration of ISBoxer here, you can see that I'm currently running patch 6785, which is a development patch. That will be necessary to get EVE Online to run properly as of 2021 here. Again, that may be rolled into the live or production version of ISBoxer after this video, but again, just make sure that you're on the development version. You can get that by going to the menu I just went to. Again, that's under here. You can also bring it up with Patcher as well. And be sure to click on development and then install now, and it'll run through and patch that for you. So in order to get started here, we first need to add EVE Online to the Interspace taskbar icon here. So we're going to go ahead and add game. We're going to select the file. Now in years past, this would be the exe file.exe that we would be selecting. However, that is no longer applicable with the EVE launcher. We'll see why that works that way in a moment here, but you'll want to make sure that you're navigating to the path C EVE launcher, which should be your path as well, unless you've changed where EVE is installed. We'll go ahead and select that here and name it EVE launcher. And then now that we've got our game added, we're going to go ahead and add our characters in here. Right click, new character. And we'll want to select our game, which is the EVE launcher and the EVE launcher default profile here. And then under this dropdown, we'll also want to select EVE Online to apply features and fixes for our game. Go ahead and do that with the second character in our set here. All right. And now that we've got those characters added in, we just want to create a character set, or a team sometimes called, to get that running here. So we'll just want to go ahead and do the quick setup wizard. This will walk us through all the bits of the process. So we'll go ahead and select EVE Online as our game. And then we'll want to go ahead and add in our characters to the team here and leave everything as is. And we'll want to go ahead and just select stacked full screen. Nothing fancy with our window layouts. And lastly, we'll just want to select our CPU strategy here. It's generally recommended to do select all CPUs with every window. Round robin balancing or the other selections tend to cause some weird performance issues. So folks within the community have recommended that we do select all CPUs to prevent those. And we'll go ahead and select next here. Lastly, we'll want to leave it as non-broadcasting since this is EVE Online. Don't want to get in trouble. And go ahead and hit finish. And that menu was just because I had the test team set up here already. You would not receive that if this was your first time. So now that we've got our character sets set up here, we want to go ahead and do File, Export All to Interspace. You can see the configuration exported. And if we go back to our task tray icon here, you can see now we have the option for the test team set. And when we launch that, you'll see that the EVE Online launcher should start up in a moment here. And now that we have the EVE Online launcher started up, we can see that we already have our accounts added in here. One thing to point out with using the EVE Online launcher is that it does not understand what ISBoxer slots are. So what I mean by that is I have launched the test team that expects slot 1 to be Lawan and slot 2 to be Cephalostrum, but it is only looking for the client that is launched. It doesn't know that the client is Cephalostrum or Lawan. It just sees what's launched and puts it in the slot in the order that it's launched. So if I, for example, start this one first and then this one second, take a moment here and see that the clients are starting up. You can see up here in the corner, we've got our readouts of memory and available textures and FPS, which indicates that ISBoxer has picked up the client here and is hooked into it. We can see it thinks that Lawan here is Cephalostrum and vice versa. So, just one thing to note with that is that you need to make sure that the clients are being launched in the order that you need them to be launched in. Um, There is a way around that here, which we'll cover in just a moment, and that is the ISBoxer EVE launcher, which lets you have a little bit more control over that, but there are some caveats with that. So we'll go ahead and demonstrate how to use that here. Let's go ahead and close our client. So now that we have the characters already set up here and the team, the only thing we need to do to switch over to using ISBoxer EVE launcher is to adjust the game and game profile that is being pointed to for the individual characters. So go ahead and launch ISBoxer EVE launcher here. You can see again, I've already added my accounts in here. You would want to do that first with the add account button. And now that we have the accounts added, you'll want to select each account and select create interspace game profiles here. What this will do is create both the game and the game profile for Isbell here. So we'll go ahead and select that, use recommended settings, and go. And that will automatically populate in the ISBoxer suite or toolkit here. So we'll want to go ahead and close the toolkit here and relaunch. And we can now see that we have ISBoxer EVE Launcher present in our games. You can see we now have individual game profiles rather than a default EVE Online Launcher profile. And this is part of what lets Isbell correctly launch each character with each team slot. So go ahead and modify this here, selecting the right one. And again, now that we've made our change, go ahead and do export all to interspace. We'll want to go ahead and make two quick changes to ISBoxer EVE Launcher, make sure everything runs properly here. So we want to make sure that x64 is checked here to launch with the 64-bit client, which is standard now for EVE Online. And we'll also want to make sure that save passwords securely is checked here. Doing so will prompt you to enter a password for ISBoxer EVE Launcher. You'll just want to set that here. That retains the account info for your accounts so that you're not prompted to enter it every time you start your team. And we'll want to go ahead and launch our team now here. And you can see that it is automatically starting up and logging into the characters that we've selected for the team in the order that we've selected them in. I don't need to click on anything to start the clients or any other input. You can see here that our first character, Lawan, is starting up, and Cephalostrum will start up here in a moment. And you can also see the FPS counter is running, character activated, which confirms that ISBoxer is tied into the team and the clients here. And that's it. Clients are now up and running, and they are running under ISBoxer, which gives you all the management options for window control and FPS settings. So that is it. Hopefully this has been helpful for everyone with the quick start guide here. Of course, as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to join the ISBoxer Discord and ask for assistance. But that is the core of how to get started with ISBoxer and EVE Online. Thank you and have a good day, everyone.